Welcome to the Female Finance Collective, where we encourage women to have open and honest conversations about all things money. In today's episode, we're talking all about holiday budgeting. It's that time of the year again, ladies. Jen, do you want to kick us off?
Yes. So I'm really passionate about this for a variety of reasons. One, I just enjoy this time of year. I think it's fun. I think it lends itself to connecting with other people. I love to give gifts. I just love everything about the October on is like my jam, right? October through the end of December. I just love. It's my favorite time of year. So I get real worked up about it, and you might be able to tell that in this episode. We'll see. But my number one tip when it comes to holidays and budgeting and this time of year is you have to make a plan. You have to think about everything that's coming up, all the events, the special traditions that you have, parties that you might attend. Do you want to bring a host gift? Are you going to be hosting and throwing a party? Are you going to be preparing special meals? There are just so many extra things that happen this time of year that we don't always account for in our budget. I'm thinking oh, what if you have the annual trip to the ice skating rink? That's like an extra cost, right? Oh, there was this so we lived in Philadelphia for a little while, and the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Philadelphia, in their lobby, does the most amazing special hot chocolate. And so we used to go, lots of people went. It was like a fun holiday tradition, but that's like an added expense that you have to think about, like all of those kind of annual traditions that start to add up. And all the gifts you want to give and just everything, right? It becomes a lot. And I am here for all of it. So I'm not here to tell anyone cut out the traditions, stop the spending or anything like that. But if we make a plan ahead of time and we start thinking about it in advance, we can avoid the overspending of the extra stuff on top of what we already do, right? And we can be a little bit more thoughtful about where our money's going and just prioritize, right? What we want to do, and then how much money we really want to dedicate to each of these things. If you're going to throw a party and you don't plan ahead and you just start buying everything you see for the party, right? That's kind of under the guise of we're having a party. Next thing you know, I mean, you can just spend hundreds and hundreds and up to thousands of dollars hosting an event without really thinking about it. So I think a plan for this time of year is the key to A, really enjoying it, and B, enjoying it without accumulating a bunch of debt.
I will echo your comments. What I advise people to do is to look at a calendar and think about every event or celebration that could come up over the next year. I just did this because next year I'm turning 50, and my partner and I had a conversation of, well, what's that going to look like? So we're starting that planning now. And one of the easiest ways to plan ahead is to have a special account that's just dedicated to holidays or events. And when you figure out what the next year could have, you do kind of a total for the gifting and entertaining and all of those things that you'll do for holidays, and then just put the monthly amount away into a special account so that you always have the money available and it won't stick to a credit card. So that's kind of my number one tip: is have a holiday dedicated savings account.
I love that idea, Marilee. I'd never considered, that being a bucket for a savings account, but it's so smart because I think about I do know, not kind of, I know how much for gift giving I'm going to spend, for example. And, I spend a certain amount on each of my own children, on the nieces, nephews, all the people I buy gifts for around this time of the year. There's also a lot of birthdays in my family at this time of the year. So sometimes the holidays are doubled up with birthdays, right? I know a lot of us have that situation. A lot of babies are born in these coming months. But I love the idea of so I can add up, I know how many people I'm buying for. I can add up, and how much I spend on them. I can add up and save that over here. So I for sure have it. Because something that I have struggled with, to be totally honest with you guys, is the big credit card bills. after the holiday season. And I pay off my credit cards 100% of the time. You know, that's a core value of mine. Like I will not pay 20% interest plus, right? And so it's always like, here's, January, February, and my credit card bills are enormous. But if I take your idea and make sure that that money is sitting to the side, and I won't feel that money very much at that point either, then I can pay those credit cards because I do like to use the credit card to get the miles and all that. But then I can easily, with ease, I'm trying to do more with ease, right? In January, February, when those big credit card bills come with ease, the money is already sitting there waiting for me. I love that idea. Thank you for sharing it, Marilee. So fun.
I think too, so you were talking about like putting money aside for gifts. And I think gifts is like, it's an area where we can all get really carried away. I mean, I love to give gifts. I think a lot of people love to give gifts, it's just like, it brings me joy to find the exact right thing for somebody. And like, I get really excited about it. So one of the things that we do is we make a list of everyone who gets gifts from us. If we have ideas, like because they had a wish list or whatever, we write down the ideas we have. We write the amount of money that's budgeted for each of those people. And if we have a family who always invites us over for an event during the holidays, I will like add them on there because I will run a bring like a host gift when I go, things like that. I try to think of everybody. So if you're somebody who gives teacher gifts, if you have just like maybe you have a housekeeper who always comes to your home and you like to give them something every year, like if you give your hairdresser a gift or an extra big tip during this time of year, all of those things, right? I try to think of all of them and I write them all down and how much we want to get, how much each person will have. And then we try to keep track of what we've purchased so that we know how much we've already spent. And we also do what Marilee said. So we like kind of know this number and we divide it by 12 and it's a line item on our budget so that we can like transfer it out of the account or it just like hangs out there so we don't think about it. And then you just kind of mark everybody off as you buy the gift. You write down the gift that you've got because anybody else ever double buy for someone because they start shopping early and then you forget you bought it and then you like
Yes.
look under your bed and there's like, oh, 4 more gifts I forgot I bought. So I'm terrible at that. Also, my mom was famous. Every year we would open all our gifts and then she'd go, wait, we're missing something. And then she would like run into her room and dig around and be like, I forgot to wrap this for you. And we like every year without fail, right? So writing things down and keeping track of all of that, how much you've spent and what you've purchased, I think is a really good way to kind of keep yourself on track and without getting carried away. Because I like gifting, I can sometimes get carried away and be like, oh, but they would also really love this. And I'm like, Jen, you have this number on your page, like that is what you're sticking with. So that gift list I find is really, really helpful. And Marilee, like you said, I only do it at the holiday time, but you could do this for the whole year almost, right? To some people that might seem kind of carried away, but you have the same people in your family who not everybody exchanges gifts or whatever, but the people who you do, and you can kind of plan it out long term. Shop ahead helps your budget as well.
Yeah, I am the anxious gift giver. So I actually don't enjoy giving gifts because it stresses me out. And one of the best things that I find for myself is just using the notes on my phone and putting, what events are coming up over the next year, who the gifts are for. And when I think of an idea, I write it in that note because I won't remember when it comes to actually buying the gift. So I'll, keep good notes on what I plan to give to people. I also think about how old people will be. So for birthdays specifically, if it's, a big celebration, if someone's turning, say, 50, and you want to get them a bigger gift, you have to look at your budget for that year to celebrate some of those milestones. The other thing I've asked with my family, we did this a number of years ago when my kids were little, was instead of giving a lot of toys and spending a specific dollar amount, it's an awkward conversation to have, but a really powerful one, but ask them to give cash. or to pay for a kid's activity or contribute to their education savings. It has been really, really helpful for my kids to have the education savings, and a lot of it was from gifts that their grandparents gave in cash. So it's a really good way to receive something, but also to help with their future. And with gifts, don't forget the power of handmade. So if you are creative, and even if you're not creative, it can actually be really funny to, make a handmade card or to knit something or whatever your super skill is. People love getting handmade stuff. It's a lot more fun. And so is giving a limited budget, like a $20 budget for a gift and seeing what people come up with. Those have been some of the most memorable gifts that I've ever received. I'm thinking back to like workplace Secret Santa and just some of the creative gifts that people would buy with just a $20 budget.
I love how you said have like the grandparents or an aunt and uncle or whatever pay for one of the kids' activities. That is so smart. Like, oh, for Christmas this year or Hanukkah or your birthday or whatever the event is, right? Grandma and grandpa paid for you to play basketball this year or whatever. I mean, that's such a great idea because it helps the parents out. It still is a gift for the kids. Um, and it's something that the grandparents can do for them or the friends or family or whoever. And I think that that's really powerful. One of the ideas I wanted to share was consider gifting experiences over things. And I think this is valuable for a variety of reasons. But if you gift an experience, which is kind of like that, right? You're gifting the chance to play basketball this year or whatever, or take dance classes. You can actually help your budget. So if you're somebody who's listening and you're like, oh, these long-term budget planning ideas are lovely, but here we are and it's October and I haven't saved a penny, right? And you're panicking. So a way that you can like budget out a little is by gifting experiences that you haven't paid for yet. So you can write a really nice letter. You can buy something small that represents the event. So maybe you have a kiddo who loves baseball and you want to take them to a baseball game. Well, baseball season is far away. So we're still in this one. So by the time Christmas rolls around, we'll still be waiting for the next one. But you could buy them like a little baseball or a pack of baseball cards and write a really fun note that says like, your Christmas gift this year is we're going to go to a baseball game. You can pick the team they go again, whoever we go see. And then you can plan out and budget for the cost of those tickets, right? Or if there's a show or a theater, anything like that your kids might enjoy, or even adults in your life might enjoy, you can kind of gift them the experience, but then plan to pay for it moving forward. And I think those are also really fun memories. Things like a fun day out where you say, in February, we're going to spend a whole day together and we'll go out to lunch and we'll go shopping and whatever your person enjoys. An overnight somewhere like a little staycation at a fun hotel. Like when it's out of season, it's so much cheaper to stay at a fun hotel, right? And like just have that experience together. So I really recommend experiences, again, for a variety of reasons, but they do help you kind of budget out your spending because you don't have to buy it all at once.
So I've thought a lot about experiences, Jen, because they bring us more happiness than items and consumerism. But I never had thought about the financial implications of like not actually having to purchase it. You could budget it for baseball season or whatever it may be. Something we've done recently is now that we're back in the US near our parents, my husband and I's parents, for Mother's and Father's Day, like we used to never give them anything. We lived abroad and, we'd give them a call and such. But now that we're home, we're like, do we buy them gifts? What do we do? We'd like to like honor them, our parents. And so we have started the last couple of years taking them out to a brunch. And so for Mother's Day, they get a message that and for Father's Day, we're going to go out to brunch together, and we don't take the kids. Our parents are really great about doing stuff with the kids alone as well. But I love that we're doing it with them, because a lot of times when kids, even our bigger kids, are there, it's its own experience. But how much time do we get to spend with our parents without our kids, you know? So that's been like a really amazing gift idea that I don't know where my husband came up with it, but it creates an amazing experience for us. And now it's a tradition. Now that's just what we do. Um, and so I love your thinking about like the financial aspects of that too. And one more thing I wanted to mention about this gift giving thing is lifestyle creep. A lot of times we've talked about lifestyle creep here on the podcast many times. And a lifestyle creep, to remind you, is as you make more money, oftentimes your lifestyle requires you, or you think it does, to spend more money. And sometimes that shows up in gift giving as well. So you feel like, oh, we're doing really well, I need to spend more on, you know, the gifts I'm giving to people. And just what I would say is a word of caution is just recognize that, right? Like, just because you're making more doesn't mean you need to spend more on gift giving. It might better be suited in your investment account rather than spending more. So just becoming aware of that. Am I feeling like I want to spend more because I'm making more now? That lifestyle creep, is it coming in? And you know, how can I keep it out? And think about the why do we give gifts, right? We keeping that at the heart of it, to make somebody happy. It's not dependent on how much you spend on them. It's actually dependent on how thoughtful it is, and the fact that you are giving them the gift, and if it's experience or that moment of them receiving the gift, and sharing joy and giving in that way, rather than how much money did I spend on that gift, right?
Well, and that this can be a really tricky area because, especially if you're married, the gift giving tends to come from your own lived experiences as a child. So, some people are used to getting a lot of gifts. A lot of times we compare what our friends receive in terms of gifts or what coworkers are buying for their families. And even with kids, when they go to school, one of the big questions is, what did you get for Christmas? And so, kind of figuring out your family, I guess, mission for the holidays
Mhm.
and having those conversations with your kids and being kind of aligned and on the same page with your spouse and with your kids. So there's no surprises, but that you are focusing on the spirit of the season or whatever celebration that you're you're kind of planning for.
Yes, that I'm super passionate about this, and get big shocker, I know. Um, but when I was a kid, so we didn't have a lot of money growing up, right? And so Christmas was very tight, and my mom started this tradition. I don't know where she came up with it, but it was every year my brother and I gave away one of our gifts, right? And we got one less gift, and we chose the mall near us had a thing called a giving tree, and it was had all these kids' names, right? They still do them. They're just called all kinds of different things. And we went and chose a name off the tree, and we went and bought, actively purchased, like my mom didn't do it for us. We went and bought the gift, and wrapped it and took it back and dropped it off. And so we got one less gift, because we gave it to somebody else. And that, I think, really instilled in me, like, the focus of this season is about giving. It's about spending time together. It's not just about how huge the pile of presents is, right? It's about that quality time with your friends and family. It's about giving back to other people. And none of that has to be done in excess, right? We can do that in small ways and still really find the value in the season. And so I think that is, I think that that's something that you can keep in mind, moving forward, to just like focus on that. We just had our guest Mara on the last episode, and she had that phrase to keep in mind when you're entertaining, like connection over perfection. And I think that that's also really applicable to this time of year, like the connection and the being together and the enjoying the spirit and the reason of this time of year. No matter what you celebrate, to me, this time of year is just all about like connection and getting together and friends and family. and focusing on that over like the things, right? And how big your pile of presents is, or how many things you do, or how much money you spend. I think that's really the key to me to like enjoying this time of year and not making it feel stressful. Am I doing enough? Did I spend enough? Am I, am I overspending and I'm going to have this huge bill that shows up that I can't pay for? There's just so much good to focus on. I think that it's really important to put that in your plan, right? It goes back to the beginning, create a plan so that you kind of know what you're going to do.
I appreciate that you brought up giving to others. That's a really important piece of holidays and gift giving. And it's one of the line items I put in my budget in the work that I do with clients as well, is to be able to give back to others if you have the financial resources to do so. The other one is keeping in mind environmental impact. So we can use things like gift bags and all of those good things. We can reuse those over and over again, just to both save money, but also not create a lot of excess stuff. So yeah, I think today's been a really great conversation about gift giving, and lots of great little tips and ideas to help stay on budget, but also to really enjoy it and not make it feel like it's stressful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like and follow our podcast. It helps us so much. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube at the Female Finance Collective. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Send us your questions, your topic ideas, and we look forward to chatting next week.